Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video I want to discuss some recent details that were spoken about regarding Dragon Quest XI. Now the article that I am reading from here is courtesy of Nova Crystallis. You guys know we refer to them quite frequently here on the channel, so be sure to go over to their website, give them hits, give them love, you know what to do. Anyway, Dragon Quest XI has been looking good. I saw the gameplay trailer last week, we spoke about it a little bit in a video, and some of these new details are also quite refreshing, especially some specifically regarding the 3DS version of the game. Now, while it's confirmed for PS4 and 3DS, there is also the Switch version, which is not spoken about at all here. So, about the game itself, you can kind of see some screenshots and graphics. First of all, good to see this old-fashioned turn-based type combat up here at the top. It's cut off at the bottom, but you can see the attack menu over on the left, the party members, you can even see the HP MP bar on the bottom right, and the sort of means of lining up fighting enemies turn-based style. So, if you're looking for a turn-based RPG on the PlayStation 4 or the 3DS, looks like you can add Dragon Quest XI to your potential purchases. Scrolling down, we can see some of the PS4 graphics. Again, Dragon Quest doesn't ever look to realism in terms of graphics. However, it does make use of the PlayStation 4's technology in the shading and the actual textures. So, good to see that actually being made of use. Now, when it comes to the 3DS version, and this is a screenshot right here, obviously it's toned down a bit. It's not going to be PS4 graphics, but we spoke about this last time. If you look at the bottom, you can see 2D graphics, and everyone had the question of if those were functionally different from the top half of the screen, or if you were basically just deciding whether to play the game in 3D or 2D. Well, it's a little bit of both. The text for the actual conversation that's happening here is on the bottom screen. We don't see it on the top screen, but it still is functionally acting as your means of getting around. Like, you see where your character is going, and there's more functionality down there that pretty much just mimics the top screen, but in a cool, old-school two-dimensional method, or a pixel method, I should say. There was another image, yeah, and then you can see another one right here. This is him outside of the town, and then you can see him on what looks to be closer to, I guess not a world map, but a local zone map on the bottom, and it gives you a rough idea of things. You can even see treasures like that. You can see the glowing treasure just to the right of him, and it looks like you can see enemies on the top though, and you can't see them on the bottom, but it is a turn-based game, so curious to see if that even ultimately matters when it comes to the feeling of the old school part on the bottom. Now, going forward, Dragon Quest is known for a ton of enemies. We saw some of those enemies in the gameplay video that came out just a week ago, and those are going to be appearing. PlayStation 4 graphics, I think you already know what to expect there. A lot of people have more questions about the 3DS version, which you can get a glimpse of down here. So again, we mentioned the top screen is for 3D, the bottom screen is for the 2D pixel art kind of deal. So here's at the top, you can see the turn-based style here where they're up against all those enemies, but then on the bottom screen you can see this is actually, I wish they'd used the same encounter for the bottom screen as the top screen in this case, but you can see that it also does give you a combat log and the ability to sort of prioritize using the pixel style on the bottom screen of the 3DS as opposed to the 3D style on the top, if you so choose so. So it's really trying to pull at the nostalgia. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, the over 30 years of Dragon Quest, and this is the 11th main game, it does seem to have quite a few references going back all the way to the first game or some of the earlier games, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Because the next thing that they want to talk about is the protagonist. Now, they call the protagonist you. I'm not a fan of that because this is a character. This is not a customizable character from what we can tell. That is the character. Now, if later down the line we find out that it's customizable, fantastic. But this is the main character that they are using for the game. And his main plot point is that he actually is the reincarnation of the hero that once saved the world. Now, I've seen a few articles talking about this being a reference to Dragon Quest I, I believe. As someone who didn't play the old Dragon Quest games, of course, I'm more than likely to be wrong here, and I'm just reading things on the internet, so we all know how great that ends up leading to information. But he carries the burden of a major mission. This is the main protagonist. This is one of your friends, Emma. You were born on the same day. You had your coming-of-age ceremony at the age of 16 on the same day, or you had it together. And then this is the mark on his hand. This is where I saw people saying that it's a reference back to one of the old Dragon Quest games. So that birthmark that glows is an important part of your story, and that is something that the protagonist has on his hand. He also has, I was about to call him his best friend, but his most major companion, I suppose, Camus. He's a reliable partner. He's a little bit edgy at times. He's a little bit angry at times, but he's ultimately a warm-hearted guy who is just seeking to make sure that the mission is a success. You can get a few screenshots of him. I don't think there were any more screenshots of those other things. That's what he looks like in the 3DS version. Then you can see another screenshot of him in the PS4 version with some of the text at the bottom. There's obviously going to be more characters than that, but those are the only ones they're talking about at this time. The world itself is this. This is Loto Zetasia. I'm sure I butchered that, but this is going to be, and it's a world that is I don't want to say powered, but it's the source of there's a tree called the Great Tree of Life. We all know what that is. That is the source of all life created on this world. You can even see it. It's actually a floating tree that pretty much is in the center of everything. And the actual protagonist can communicate with the, as it says, the soul of the Great Tree. That's part of his birthright and part of his role as the major hero of this world. It also shows off his hometown, which you can see, which is the town of Ishi Village. And this is where not only the protagonist, but Emma are also from, born on the same day, coming of age in their town, the same day, all that stuff. The coming of age ceremony is a tradition to climb God's Rock, which is a rocky mountain in which spirits of the earth dwell to offer their prayers. So you get a few screenshots here of the PS4 version. You can see a horse eating just outside of town. Moving on to the 3DS version, you can see, what the heck is that shining tree root? I guess we'll have to find out because they don't want to tell us. And those are all the screenshots and informations that we got regarding Dragon Quest XI. I'm looking forward to following this game. It looks to be something that you guys will definitely be interested in. And with Dragon Quest VIII hitting the 3DS on January 20th, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking forward to getting some Dragon Quest into my schedule in the next year, in 2017. Just as a reiteration, Dragon Quest XI, In Search of Departed Time, an RPG coming out on the PlayStation 4 and 3DS, although I swear I've seen they said it was coming out on the Switch as well. One-player game, not a multiplayer game. Release date next year, 2017. Price TBA. I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's $60 for PS4, $40 for 3DS, but until confirmed, who knows, maybe it'll be different. Character design, of course, by Akira Toriyama. If you guys don't know, he does all the Dragon Quest. The first time I played Dragon Quest VIII, I was like, why does that character look like Bulma? Why does that character look like Goku? And I was like, oh, Akira Toriyama is the character designer. Okay, may see some similarities in that sense. Developing by Square Enix, the music by Kyuichi Sugiyama, and game design and scenario by Yuji Horii. So looking forward to this in 2017, and I'll be sure to keep you guys all up to date on the latest news regarding Dragon Quest XI. Again, shout out to Nova Crystallis. Be sure to go over there and give them hits on their website for this article. You guys know it's the right thing to do. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more information on Dragon Quest XI as we get into the year 2017. But anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.